Sahyadri Group of Institutions, a symbol of excellence.
So, good morning, students. I will start solid mechanics lecture number 3. Yes, sir. In this lecture, we are going to study stress strain diagram for ductile and brittle materials, factor of safety, and we will solve some numericals based on these concepts. Okay, so at the end of this lecture, we all should be able to understand stress strain diagram for ductile and brittle materials. We have one experiment on this for ductile and brittle materials, and maybe there will be some questions based on this in your viva oral. Okay, and then we are going to see the concept of factor of safety, which is very important in engineering. Solve the numericals based on these concepts. Now, firstly, what do you mean by ductile materials? The materials in which we can able to draw wires. Okay, so ductility is a mechanical property commonly described as materials amenability to drawing, or we can say ability to draw into wires. We all know that we use gold ornaments, etc. So in gold ornaments, there are very fine wires. So gold has very good ductility. Similarly, stainless steel has some ductility. Now, what we mean by brittleness that we are going to see afterwards, you will see there is one specimen which has been cut in ductile test, and in that you will get that cup and cone fracture surface is there. So this is cup shaped. This is cup formation, and this kind of thing is called as cone formation. Cup and cone kind of formation will come into picture in ductile materials. Okay, and this is tensile test of this AlMgSi alloy, aluminum, magnesium and silicon alloy. So in that case we get this type of fracture, cup and cone kind of fracture, and this is the typical case of ductile materials. So in case ductile materials, this type of fracture comes into picture. And the next, gold is extremely ductile. It can be drawn into monoatomic wire. So monoatomic means it is nearly equal to 0.24 nanomicron kind of wire we can stretch, and before breaking we can do that kind of in vacuum. This type of wire drawing can be done in vacuums. This is tensile test diagram for ductile material. We will see here what are the significance of these O, P, E, Y, Y dash, Y double dash, U and R. This is a P is called as proportional limit, E is called as elastic limit, Y it is yield point, U is ultimate strength and R is rupture strength. This is stress strain diagram. Stress is on Y direction and strain is on X direction. We have plotted. Now all these things are here. What are the silent features of this? Line OP is line of proportionality, and Hooke's law is applicable to this particular region. The stress point is known as proportional limit. The stress point P is known as proportional limit. Normally, proportional limit and elastic limit are very, you can say, near to each other. So P and E, it is a rapid elongation, but it's within elastic limit. So sometimes we can write P and E as a same point. They are very near to each other. Hence, elastic limit is taken as proportional limit in lots of the materials cases. Okay. Now, what is this Y, Y dash and Y double dash? When this load is further increased, the plastic deformation starts, and stress strain curve is unsteady, showing lower yield point, that is y dash, and upper yield point, that is y double dash. That we have to remember. So sometimes it goes down and again it goes up, so it is called as y and y dash, lower and upper yield points. Now what is ultimate stress? The strain from y to u is 100 times more than o to y. Y to u, it is 100 times more than o to y. The stress value at u is known as ultimate stress. At that point, ultimately it starts buckling or it starts fracturing. And R is the neck formation region where we get rupture. Formation of neck is there, so we get a rupture, or we can say failure of that particular specimen. So these are the silent features of stress strain curve. We should know all these things to answer the things. But you might have seen there is one dotted line is given here. So what is significance of this dotted line, that we have to find out. This will be your homework question. What is meaning of this dotted line? It is your homework question. If you know the answer, you can comment right now. Yes? Anyone want to answer? Then please answer it right now. What is meaning of that dotted line? This question may be asked in your oral viva, because this is very important part of your practical. How this dotted line is plotted, that you should know. I will just give you one hint. That is, this dotted line is nothing but a true strain diagram. You have to find out what is true strain. Actually, true strain क्या होता है वो आपको find out करना है, because your answer will impress that external, and you will get full marks for that. Okay. Now for brittle materials, we have seen for ductile materials the stress strain curve from Y to R is very lengthy. But in case of brittle materials like cast iron, etc. You can say
Excuse me,
brittle
sir.
materials. Yeah. Hello.
Sir, actual strength, sir, the dotted line name is actual strength, actual
Full
rupture
strength.
strength.
Yes. Why?
Is it correct, sir?
Yeah, but why? Give me justification.
Sir, don't know, sir.
Okay.
I only remember
No.
the name, sir.
Okay, no problem. I'll tell you. So your homework has been solved right now only. Because what happens, to draw this curve, we are going to take the diameter of that particular bar as the, what is we have taken from start, that is actual diameter, sorry, the diameter which is you can say the diameter of wire at the starting point. Okay, but in this case what happens, when elongation starts, your diameter decreases. You know that Poisson's ratio is there. So as diameter as length increases, diameter decreases. So if you take stress as force upon actual cross sectional area,
Sir.
actual cross sectional area. Okay, force upon area, you know the stress, the formula of stress is force upon area. But if you will take actual cross sectional area, then what you will get, you will get this dotted line as actual stress curve, or actual we can say stress strain diagram, and that's why it is called as actual stress. Getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go towards brittle materials. Now in brittle materials, what happens? this ductile versus brittle material curve is there. We know, we have seen that in ductile materials, Y2R, or we can say Y2 rupture, that curve is very elongated due to the ductility of material. But in case of brittle material, it gets broken here only. The example is cast iron, or you can say maximum times we consider bricks and cement walls as brittle materials. So in that case, we get this point as a rupture point. So this is basic difference between ductile and brittle material. We have to remember this. Okay. Now next. Now, why these brittle fractures come into picture? This is due to transgranular cleavages. So there is no apparent plastic deformation, and directly the crack get generated and crack get propagated. This crack propagation, in case of cast iron, you might have seen if there is a chassis, a body of a vehicle is there, and small crack is there, and that crack gets propagated, and that complete chassis get damaged within fraction of second. So this is called as crack propagation, and these cracks are due to the brittle fracture of that material, and that crack propagation speed is 133 meter per second. It is nearly equal to speed of sound. So this brittle fracture is very much dangerous, because we cannot prevent it. We have to do preventive maintenance for checking the cracks. That is only in our hand. Okay. In general, brittle fracture requires three conditions: flaw, that is crack; stress sufficient to develop small deformation; and temperature below DBTT. So DBTT is nothing but ductile to brittle transition temperature. So this is not in your syllabus, but you should know all these things, because you, as an engineer, you should know all type of cracks and crack propagation in your life. Now, factor of safety. The load at which any member of machine carries is called as working load. We all know this. Whatever machines we are manufacturing, they are to do something, do work. So in that cases, it may take some working load and working stress. So obviously, this working stress must be less than the yield stress or tensile strength. This working stress is also called as permissible stress or allowable stress. We can allow that much stress only on that particular machine part. So the factor of safety is nothing but ultimate or yield stress divided by design or working stress. So ultimate or yield, why this or word is there? In case of brittle materials, we use ultimate stress because there is ultimate fracture at that particular point. And in case of steel, or we can say in case of ductile material, we take yield stress, because afterwards the yielding starts. After that particular point, yielding starts. There will be no significant rupture at that point, but there will be yielding. Yielding is nothing but your length, increment in length. So we have to prevent ultimate fracture as well as yielding also. So for that purpose, we use factor of safety. Normally 1.5 in case of aeroplanes, and 2, 3, 4 in case of other instruments. We use the factor of safety as ultimate stress upon working stress or yield stress upon working stress. That you have to remember. Now, actually, in your syllabus, this total part is theoretical only. So we'll solve numerical based on principle of superposition. In the previous two lectures, we have seen 2-3 examples, but this is somewhat, you can say, typical kind of thing. This is a difficult kind of example we are going to solve right now. So what is given in this example, we'll see. A steel circular bar has 3 segments as shown in figure. Determine the total elongation of that particular bar. length of middle segment to have zero elongation of bar, diameter of last segment to have zero elongation of bar. Now, first part is very easy because we have solved this type of examples firstly. But second and third part, you might think that it is difficult, but when you will solve first numerical, first part, you will get to know that second and third is also very easy to solve. Now we'll see how to solve this type of numerical. What is given in this example? So a steel circular bar with varying cross section is given 20, 30, 15 diameters. There are force system, 80 kilonewton force is given here, 330 kilonewton in opposite direction, 300 kilonewton in pulling direction. So how we are going to solve this type of numerical? Value of GPA, okay, E is given 205 GPA. Now we'll write firstly given data. A steel circular bar having three segments with different forces and different diameters. E is given 205 GPA. Now we have to find total elongation. We have to find the length of middle segment for zero elongation of bar. So if we'll increase or decrease the length of this particular segment, total elongation will be zero. Diameter of last segment of for zero elongation of bar. So if we'll change the diameter of this particular segment, then also we'll get the value of elongation zero that we are going to solve. Now, first thing first, we have to draw free body diagram of this particular example. So in free body diagram, what we do? We make a body free by removing particular support. So if I'll remove the support, I need equilibrium to be formed. So we'll see here. There are two methods. One method is from SS Rattan. We have seen this method. Okay, somebody is doing something. Don't use your pens. I am using my pen here. Please erase. Okay, thank you. No problem. So this is given in SS Rattan. That is firstly what you have to do, 80 kilonewton on this particular segment. To balance this, we are going to write here 80 kilonewton. This is borrowed 80 kilonewton, so we'll write here 80 kilonewton. Then 330 kilonewton is given. So 80 minus 330 will get 250 in this direction. This is the simple kind of thing. Okay, so 250 will be here. Now, if we'll see for balancing 250, we have to write here 250. So this 250 will come here directly. But on this particular segment, there is 300 kilonewton force in opposite direction. So 250 algebraic sum, 250 minus 300, it is 50 in this direction. So 50, 50 get balanced. Okay. So in AB segment, there will be 50, 50 kilonewton force tensile. In BC, it will be 250, 250 kilonewton compressive. And in CD, it will be 80, 80 kilonewton tensile. This is method given in book SS Rattan, but there is one simple method also, that is free body diagram method, and this is very easy. We'll see how to solve this with free body diagram. We know that when we draw a free body diagram, summation of fx must be equal to 0 to be in equilibrium. So what we'll get, 80 kilonewton is in you can say right direction, we'll take it positive, and in left direction we'll take it as negative. So we'll see 80 kilonewton is positive, 80, 330 kilonewton is negative, minus 330, 300 kilonewton is positive. What you will get? Anybody? It will be equal to 50 kilonewton. Correct? Okay. Plus reaction at A is equal to 50 kilonewton. So 80 minus 330 plus 300 plus reaction at A is equal to 50 kilonewton. So reaction at A will be equal to minus 50 kilonewton. Reaction at A will be equal to minus 50 kilonewton. What is significance of this minus sign? Minus sign shows that your reaction will be in which direction? Left direction. Okay, because minus sign is given to left direction. So what will get? Reaction at A is 50 kilonewton and taking it as like this, 50 kilonewton in negative direction, or we can say leftward direction, will get the value of reaction at A. Now what we are going to do, taking section between AB, BC and CD. So we get 50 kilonewton in this direction. And I'll take section here. So if I'll take section here, 50 in the direction, take cumulative of this, we'll get 50 in this direction. For BC, I'll take section here. It is equal to 50 minus 300, so minus 250 here. And on this, in this direction also 330, 80, so it will become minus 250. And if I'll take the section here, then again I'll get 80 kilonewton in this direction and 80 kilonewton in this direction. So both methods are okay. If you understand first method, you use it. If you understand second method, you will use it. It's not mandatory to use any one method. You can use which is suitable for you. Okay, so we got 50 kilonewton tensile in AB. In BC it is 250 kilonewton compressive, and in CD it is 80 kilonewton tensile. Now the problem is solved. Total elongation delta L is equal to PL by AE. We know the formula. Delta L is equal to PL divided by AE. Now in case here diameters are changed, E is same, forces are changed, and L is changed. So what we'll do, we'll take only E common, and from area we'll take pi by 4 common. D square is here inside, D square, it is inside. 80 kilonewton, the length is 250. 80 kilonewton is nothing but 80,000 Newton. Length is 250 divided by its diameter 20 square minus 250 kilonewton, so 250,000 into 200 its length divided by 30 square plus 50,000, that is 50 kilonewton into 150 divided by 15 square. This is a simple thing, and we can solve this with the help of calculator and brackets properly. Then you'll get in one stroke the answer equal to 0.173 millimeters. Okay, so this is the first part. This was very easy, PL by AE. So we have to take only common parts, that is E is taken common and pi by 4 is taken common. There is nothing additional things. Now the second and third part is somewhat tricky. The second part is length of middle segment. We have to calculate length of middle segment for zero elongation. So what we'll write, delta L is equal to 0. We are going to write delta L is equal to 0. Middle segment's length was 200. We'll replace it by small l or L as a we have to calculate this value of L. This one equation is there and one unknown is there. we have already calculated this as 50,000 here. So we'll put here 50,000. This is calculated 33,330.3. We'll write here 33,333.3, and we'll solve this numerical for the value of L, and we'll get, if we'll increase the length of middle segment by 300 mm, then total elongation will be nullified. Total elongation will be 0. So this is simple part. And similarly, third part, diameter of last segment. So last segment, which last segment? This one, the last segment from support. So we are going to change the diameter of this last segment, and for that, what we will do, what we'll write only here, diameter is 20, we'll write it as D. And again, we will solve the numerical similar to first numerical. So what we are going to write, delta or delta L, here they have written different symbol, but it is delta. Delta is equal to 0 for the diameter of last segment D, and we'll get the diameter of last segment is equal to 330 mm. So you have to solve as much numericals as you can, because what happens in solid mechanics, we need practice. In exam directly, if you will get this type of numericals, you may not solve this type of numericals. If you have solved it previously, then your confidence get built. So we have to remember this thing. To build your confidence, it is necessary to solve 1 or 2 numericals daily, whether our lecture is there or not there. You have to solve it, because this will be helpful in your final examination. Okay. Now you can ask questions. You can unmute yourself for 2-3 minutes and ask me any question if you have any doubts in your mind. No questions? So in next lecture, what we'll see, in this lecture, we have seen ductile and brittle materials. In next lecture, we'll see statically determinate and indeterminate bars, because this kind of numericals are, you can say, difficult kind of numericals in exam. Only if you know how to do calculations, how to put the conditions in the example, because the composite bar sections are there. So if you can write equation, then you can solve these type of numericals in exam also. So the statically determinate and indeterminate bar, it is the one of the most important lecture. You do not miss it. This is Professor Sachin Thorpe signing out till we meet again in next lecture. Thank you very much.